There is not a single thing in the game of Minecraft that is more useful than slime. Well, maybe except for diamonds. And, yeah, that netherite stuff, that stuff's useful too. And I suppose wood too. I mean, where would we be without wood? Anyway, that is besides the point. Slime. Slime is unbelievably useful in the game of Minecraft, and today I actually have a tutorial for you guys, and this is a Xisumavoid slime farm from Hermitcraft Season 7, and this thing is a beast. It actually goes across 4 chunks. The slimes will spawn, they are lured to the center by iron golems, they are fed up to the top, they are broken down and brought over here to be killed with a player's looting 3 sword. Welcome to another one of our Fozzen finds tutorials, and today we are going to be going over Xisuma's slime farm like I mentioned. And to begin, let us actually jump into an overview of the farm itself before we touch on the cool mechanics and then go straight into the block by block, or well, relatively block by block tutorial. The first part of the farm that we are going to overview are these spawning platforms, and these are really low down in the world. There are 7 of them, and because of the way that slimes spawn, you could actually even do more than this, but the higher you go, the more efficient. Is my head lost? Oh yeah, there we go. But the higher you go in the world, the more inefficient these platforms become, so the optimal amount to have in this farm is actually 7 of them. The next thing that we want to know is actually the size of these platforms, and as you can see, they are circular, and they do not occupy all 4 chunks, and the reason for that is actually because of these iron golems here. No matter where a slime spawns on these platforms, it will be able to be lured to the center, where it can be carried up in this water stream to where the player is standing. Up at the top of this stream, you will notice that there is lava in the ceiling, and the reason there is this lava here is to break down the larger slimes, making it easier for your game's performance, as well as making it easier to control and direct them with this water. And you'll also want to note how this water is flowing in a very particular fashion. No matter where the slime is, it will be pushed and brought to these points here, where another iron golem will lure it over to the killing platform. And for all of the slimes that do end up sinking down to the bottom, there is a slime block platform down here, stopping any of them from dying so that they can go back up to the top. And the last thing to note is the killing chamber. So like I mentioned, this iron golem will lure the slimes out from their water over top of these hoppers, and they will drop down onto these honey blocks. And when they're on these honey blocks, they will not be able to jump, making it way easier for you to get the player kills. And you'll notice that there's actually a weird spot on the honey, and this is incredibly interesting. That is on the chunk borders. Now, I don't know why that is, but this is actually from the optimization mod Lithium, which changes the way they look, but I find it unbelievably intriguing that it actually happens like that on chunk borders. And right below is the collection system. Now, we are not going to be building up this collection system in the tutorial. It will just be mentioned briefly because it is unbelievably simple, and this farm can have any collection system that you would care to have with it. This is just set here as an example for you. And let's actually just mention a few cool mechanics, and the first one is these stairs right here. Now, these are waterlogged stairs, and this is not something that I knew. Oh, I'm breaking the ceiling. And before I started going about busting our entire farm, this is something I didn't know existed in Minecraft. If we actually come in here and we break these stairs, if we had normal blocks in place of these stairs, water would actually be able to flow over top, and that is not something we want. So you'll want to take waterlogged stairs, and this actually stops the water from flowing over the top like that. All you have to do is update it, and that is unbelievably cool. Another thing to note is actually the use of walls and fences intermittently. Any of them work, not just sandstone and netherrack, but that actually allows slimes to see into where the iron golems are, but they can't get in, even the tiniest ones. So this allows your slimes from the entire farm to be able to see these iron golems, but not actually reach them. And the last cool mechanic is actually probably known by most of you, and that is the light level. So I've actually got a thing called light overlay on, and if I break this torch, you will see that there is a bunch of X's, and what this means is the light level on this block is actually 7 or below. So you can see right there it says 6, and if I come in here and I replace that torch, you will see that there are no spawning spaces. So you might think, oh man, but Fozzen, how do I get slimes to spawn in my farm? Well, no, slimes can actually spawn in any light level, So that means you can run this farm and make sure you only get slimes without getting a single other mob, and that is honestly seriously cool. With all of that out of the way, we can actually start on the tutorial itself, and like I mentioned, this isn't going to be block by block because those platforms are huge, so I will be giving you all of the numbers, all of the details, all the different tips and tricks you need to build this farm, but I won't be walking you through the placement of every single one of these blocks. And if you were questioning whether this farm works or not, check this out for yourselves. The slimes spawn on all these platforms, rush into the middle, and from there they get shot up to the very top, and there you are killing them with your sword. So you can see they all hop onto here, the bigger ones get broken down, so it's just medium and smaller, and once they get pushed to a certain point, they lock onto this iron golem, try and get you, and then you can just whack them. And this is actually just my friend's account. He lets me use it as my alt. And yeah, this farm is crazy awesome. And to begin, the first thing you are going to want to do is get the seed of your world. Now, the reason you're going to be doing this is to actually take it into chunk base, which I'll show you in a moment, so that you can find slime chunks. Now, there are other ways of finding this, such as mini HUD, and also things like, I believe Nembomb's carpet mod, but all you're wanting to do is find a slime chunk, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. You can type /seed, and it will give you a seed. Now you can copy this, copy it to your clipboard, and move into chunk base, and that's what I'm pulling up on the screen right now. So this is a really neat website. There's lots of different apps, things you can do, biome finder. It's great for a lot of different things in your world, but what we want is slime chunk finder. So once you click on that, you are going to be putting the seed in the top right there, and you're going to be wanting to look for a green square just like this. That means there are 4 slime chunks all together in a square, and that is how Xisuma's farm is built. Now, moving back into our world, this is actually built in a quad slime chunk, and I've shown you guys that it works, so we are just going to be moving right here and popping in another one. And although these aren't slime chunks, we don't need them to be. We are just building up the farm as a tutorial for you guys. The next trick I suggest for you is actually to press F3 and G. Now, a lot of these things only work on Java Edition, so if you're in Bedrock, you're going to have a harder time at this. But if you do F3 and G, it actually shows you chunk borders, which is all the different chunks in the entire world. And what you're going to want to do is mark out those 4 green slime chunks just like this. We're pretending that these are slime chunks, and then the next thing is, for those of you who hate things that are asymmetrical, you are not going to like this, but you're going to pick any of the corners. It doesn't matter which. Just choose one of them. This is the part of the tutorial where we will see some people splitting apart from the rest, and by that I mean the way that you actually build your farm. So we have a spawning platform right here, and a slime starts to spawn there, but there is a wall. If the slime's foot ends up in that wall, it will actually cancel the spawn because this is a solid block. And if it is actually a transparent block, such as glass or half slabs, it will actually be able to spawn. So you don't have to use glass itself for the farm. But if you do want to use those transparent blocks on the wall, the easiest way to do that is go back to your center block. And you can open up chunk boundaries if you can. Otherwise, there is an easy way, which is counting out 16. So one chunk is 16 blocks. So what you can do is you can actually see that this starts 1 inside of this chunk. We can go all the way to the end of the chunk, which is 16, and 1 past. And that is 16 directly from this center block. And if you do the same thing over here, you'll notice that this is outside of this chunk. So you can just go straight to the corner point right here, and this is our edge block. From that edge block, you're going to want to go 3 out to the side, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, and then again. And I'll demonstrate that here. So this is your center block. You're going to want to go 1, 2, 3. This makes it 7 in total. 1, 2, 3, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can just repeat this along the other side, and it ends up aligning real nice. This is going to be your outer wall. Then on the inside, you're going to be having your transparent blocks. And then below that is going to be the spawning platform. So you can either dig out all 4 chunks and then fill in these corners, or just dig it down in a circle. I've got the circle started with those exact same measurements, the 7, the 3, the 2, and the 5, And as you can see, I've chosen to do the glass in the center, which is that transparent block. Now, like I mentioned, you don't even have to start this glass until you get down to the spawning platforms, but just for continuity to be the same as that one, we are going to be keeping this glass, so just bear that in mind. Like I mentioned, you can either dig out this hole in the shape of the circle that you need, whether you want that glass or not, it doesn't matter. Or you can dig it out in the chunks and then just build up the walls going all the way up, whatever is easier for you. Now you'll see that we are at elevation 5 and the top layer of bedrock will be all jaggy and filled with stone and stuff. That doesn't matter. We are going to be putting our top spawning platform on the top and just cover the entire thing with whatever building block it is you're using. We've got our platform and now we want to find that center block again. So if you open up chunk borders, you can also do this by counting. If you check this end block, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the center, 5, 6, 7. So you can remove these ones. We don't need these. You can follow this line going all the way to the center, and you're going to check this side as well. So this is 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means you're going to want to follow this line all the way until it meets up with that 4. Oh, just like this. Where that slime block was is a very important location because this is the center of the entire farm. We can go off of chunk grids now. We can now start going off of this centerpiece. So moving off of here, you're going to want to go 3 slime blocks out. This is going to be the jumping catch pad. And this is your center block of the ring, we can call it. Move out 2 on each side, and that makes it 5 long. You can go 2 diagonal like this, and then 3, 4, 5 again. And then if you follow this all the way around, you'll get a nice little circle. Now, this whole space isn't actually going to be occupied by just slime blocks. Right here on the corners, you're going to make almost like a T or a cross, I guess you could say. This is going to be the bubble elevator, and then that is the slime ring. And this right here is not only super useful for checking out how the center goes. If we go 1, 2, 3, you'll be doing this on all the sides. Right on the top, you can place a slab, and this is enough space for a slime to spawn underneath. And now you can actually make that exact same pattern, the ring that we have down here, and this will actually give you the size of the spawning pads, and you can just build this all the way out. With the platform built out, you'll notice that this inner ring is the exact same size as that one we built down there, so you can use that to measure, and then all the rest is just filled with slabs, and make sure that is actually a top slab and not a bottom slab, so there's enough space down here for the slimes to move around, and they can actually spawn because mobs can't spawn on bottom slabs. And you'll notice down here it is starting to get really dark. If you don't have glass going all the way up to the light, it will actually be very dark, and this is where we start placing torches. The torch placement is really simple, and it's actually symmetrical. So if you follow from the center and you go 2 blocks off of this, you can actually place a torch there. You can go in this corner and place a torch here. So we're just going to do 1/2, and you can see how the whole thing is. Then you're going to want to go over to this center, and you aren't going to be placing one there. But if you count 1, 2, 3 empty spaces and do a 4th, 1, 2, 3, and do a 4th, and then right here, you can go just 1 diagonal off. Same over here, we can just go 1 diagonal off, and if I open the spawn thing, you can see that mobs can spawn there, but they can't actually spawn anywhere here, and you can just copy this on all of the corners. And I say corners loosely because, well, we're working with a circle here. But yeah, you can just repeat this torch pattern on all of the platforms, and in the center, it won't actually light up, but that's fine because this is going to be completely submerged in water with those iron golems. So yeah, place these torches all the way around, go up on the next layer, and then same thing as before. What you can do is you can either go 1, 2, 3 up, and then start building that middle ring, then build the outside of the platform, or you can go over to the wall and go 1, 2, 3 up, place that stone slab, and then move in towards the circle. And we're going to build all 7 of these platforms right now. All 7 of our platforms are built up and everything like that. And above the 7th one, you are going to be doing another roof exactly like the same 1, 2, 3 up. And then you're going to do that top slab, making it so the slimes can spawn. And then on top of this, you're going to be doing a bottom slab. And this is making it so that nothing can spawn on top, so that you don't have to do any lighting up. And also, slimes would spawn on there even though you are lighting up. So make sure that you do this double layer here above the 7th platform. I've got that roof built up, and if we take a peek up here, you can see that all of this, although there is no light, is spawn proofed, and that is perfect. That means no slimes can spawn up here because we actually are still below level 40, which is where slimes can spawn. But right here there is a yellow X, and that is perfectly fine because this is going to be our tube going up to the killing area. We can now move down here to where the iron golems need to be. We're now moving on to the water chute. And right now I'm facing east right now. And last time I went on the south and the north direction just so that there was actually a pattern. And what I did is I made sure to always face the gates inwards, but on the edges where it was on both, I just did the east and the west a little bit shorter just so that everything kind of matched up, keeping a little bit of a pattern. What you're going to want to do is actually have all of these open, and this is the hard part. If you thought placing all those slabs was hard, this is a little bit more annoying because you're actually going to have to place these going up all the way to the top. And one thing I didn't know, and this is a trick, if you're in creative, if you hold shift and space at the same time, you can do things that you normally would have to have shift in, but still be flying, and that took me forever to learn. But anyway, we're going to be continuing these oak trap doors. No, these are fence gates all the way to the top, and you can see how this is a little bit annoying. So in survival, you'll want to do a tower, and in the center, you're going to be having walls in the corners with fence gates in the center. And although I myself can just do /summon iron golem, what you will want to do is actually build up a little ways, because iron golems can't actually construct themselves when they're touching other blocks. So if you give them a little bit of room, you can actually do something like this. If you just come up from right here and move it into the center, this can be your center block, and then you can actually build the iron golem on top of that, and they don't take fall damage. So what you can do is you can just pop that head on there, and it can fall down into the center, and the way you hired help, and the way you spawn the next one is actually just put the slab as low as possible. So check the top of that, the bottom of that, the top of that, the bottom of that, and there we go. This is where the next one is going to go, and you can just keep doing that as close as possible to the iron golem all the way up until you've reached this kind of top part. And if you were wondering how high you need to make this for 7 platforms, it is actually 22. So counting this, you go 1, 2, 3, and then all the way up to this one, and that is where we first start closing this nether brick fence right here. And the reason I'm not giving you like elevation coordinates is because you might actually be breaking the bedrock down to the bottom, bringing it lower down to the world. So yeah, that is 22 off of that soul sand right there. And now that all these guys are in here, what you can actually do is you can come in here and you can place water in these walls. Walls is the word I was looking for, but yeah, if you have water in all of the walls, it will actually make a water source for everywhere. And then if there isn't one, you can just place it in the center, and when it gets a little bit tricky, you can just place it on this fence. It will waterlog the fence, and then if you place it again, it'll come out the side like that. So you're going to want to either do ice all the way up, or just water buckets like this along the walls, making sure that all the water fills out all the way up to the top. And although this was a heck ton of water to place, there's going to be more because we are making another column, so I definitely suggest either planting kelp all the way along, because what kelp does is it turns flowing water into a source block. So you can place one water way up at the top, fill it with kelp, and it all turns into source blocks, and then break the kelp afterwards, or you can just use ice. Either way, it is a lot of water that you have to place, but this means that no matter where a slime is, they can see an iron golem, they will come in to get this iron golem, and they will be swept to the top. And now, from this fence right here, the center one, we can actually start building up to the killing chamber. There are 27 layers of this, so when you are starting on that one last fence gate that is above the very last iron golem, you are going to be wanting to go 27 in total, including that first one. So 1, 2, counting all the way up, and this top one is the 27th one. These guys right here also stacked 27 as well, same as those fence gates and everything in the middle. And remember earlier when I said it was just nice to have continuity in between going north, south, and then east, stuff like that? This is where this actually comes into play, because we have to fill this entire bottom part with these fence gates. So I just like having these ones right here, these 3 just face like that. Super simple, and then all of these other spaces can fill in just so that you can see, hey, where are all of the fence gates? And then just place them in like this, following the same pattern as before, facing inwards, and you will be perfectly fine. Up on the top is actually an annoyingly complicated water stream system. The good news is, though, it is very easy to construct. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build these up. And I just used stained glass or just normal glass just so you can see inside. I really quite enjoy seeing inside of my farms, and you'll notice on that one side I didn't actually fill it in with glass, and the reason for that is this is where we're going to be killing them. So you'll want to take a stair and place it on the same level as these trapdoors right here. Just boom, 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 just like that, and you can actually carry out this glass. One more. You are going to want to have one right here beside the stairs because there is going to be waterlogging going on here. You don't want water flowing out. Fill those up with water, and then the next part is actually to cover all of this with stone, the whole thing. Now that you have this little wonky kind of shape, I guess you could say, you're going to do a little bit of editing to it. So on these corners, you're going to want to build this out so it is square. And now you actually get a corner. And I would suggest actually not filling this in, although I would like to have it like that, just because it's more aesthetically pleasing. This actually makes it so that this one chunk right here, this one column, is actually better for slime spawning. So that is one thing we want to think about, because this farm is super high up in the world and you want to be lower typically. So we are going to be bearing that in mind. You want to have this pattern, build up the glass walls actually one more time, and then we're going to be putting some water in these corners. Once you have those walls built up like that, you're going to want to put water in the corner on these little star shapes. They're kind of like a quarter of a star. They're on that same corner we were talking about before, and you're also going to want to put four blocks on the sides, just like this. Pop that water right in those corners, and it's going to flow out like this, leaving you with this little tiny shape. It's like the top of a pine tree. So we're going to break that, and you can see that this is our waterlogged stair layer. So you're going to want to break these two on the corners, and then you're going to want to break this one in the end. Then put these two back. That's going to try and make this one flow. Break them all again. Put this one back, and you'll see that it actually flows out like that. So it's a really weird pattern, and it's quite odd, to be honest with you guys. But look how cool that is. I love that. Waterlogged stairs are cool. Anyway, the next thing you're going to want to do is break all of these stair blocks, and see how right here there is the bubble column. You're going to want to make sure that you encourage that and bring it all the way to the top, so the very top block is water. So you're going to want to break here, here, and then over here as well, just kind of like in a little bit of a square around those fence gates, making sure that the water stream gets all the way to the top, launching those slimes the whole way. Then break all of the stone on the bottom. Once all of the stone on the bottom is broken, including the stuff over the middle, what you're going to want to do is break down into here and actually place a second water bucket. Take out this kind of elevated part, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Place that right there, break out these ones, and we can actually block off this top water, and you'll see that the water stays about the same, and it still flows over to the end, but we had to do this higher part to make sure that it actually got all the way over there in the start. This is perfect. It flows real nice like this. You can remove this, and also these three right there. Now you can keep these two in the corner. Those are kind of important, but you can break these three like that. I just got the advancement, hot stuff, and that is because we are doing lava next. Now, the reason we actually lowered this water is so we could have these trapdoors just like this over the top. And you're going to want to bring all of this glass over by one more. That is where the trapdoors are going to be. I keep calling these fence gates trapdoors, and then one more because this is where the lava is going to be. Now, if you aren't too concerned about farm drops, you can put a roof on this just to protect you. Like I did over there, I actually put a roof on it. But if you want to have maximum farm drops on this farm, you don't actually want to have a roof on that. And I put lava solid on this other one. You can just have it kind of haphazard, so long as there's at least one little dollop on each part. We are coming down here now, and we are going to be running a hopper line right here, just like that. And what I actually did on the other one is I ran 2 that way, and then 3 this way. But then after that, below it, I actually ran 2 this way, and then 3 the other way. That just makes sure that you get an even distribution of the hoppers, just in case you're collecting items off the top. Then right here you can break these blocks that I put in and build a wall. And this is just going to be going up to that. I guess we called it a crossbar. There's going to be iron bars here, 3 of them. And then you're going to want to come out again with the glass blocks. Again, putting that roof up on the top. And then you're going to be doing walls this time. Nope, not walls. Fences. And you're going to have 3. You are going to be having more than that, because down below the hoppers we are putting in this honey layer. So this is 5 long, just like the hoppers. Then you're going to bring out the 5 again, and a 3rd time, and then put 3 in front. I still find it funny how on chunk borders they do that. Then you're going to bring this all the way down to the honey. Make sure it touches down, and then we're gonna have walls. And again, you can use any walls, any type of fences, but we are just using sandstone and nether brick, and then bring this glass down along the sides. Of course, this will feed into something with those hoppers, and then you can just build up this thing all the way around, same thing on both sides. For this next part, we are putting carpets here, and this is actually to stop those baby slimes from falling into the weird hitbox of the hopper. Then you're going to want to come down to the 3 in the front right here, and you're going to want to build up 1 and then 2 with your walls. And it doesn't have to be sandstone. Again, it can just be whatever it is you're using. Then we are going to be starting to build one of those cages, the ones we've been doing for the iron golem so far. Just build out like this, and then you're going to want to put a slab and a second one. This is where your iron golem is going to be. The same thing as before, those fences and the walls just alternating in the corners. And then you can build up. The reason I'm actually using these nether brick fences is because listen to them. Oh, they're just such satisfying sounds. And then just build up just like normal. We're going to summon in an iron golem right here. You can just build one up on top and it can fall in. I've put on the same roof as before just because it was looking really, really ugly. You can leave it without a roof. We put a roof on the iron golem, and the last part is where the person is. So you can just do a couple of blocks like this, and we are going to be trying to make it as small as possible. And the reason for that is actually because the more blocks you have above this farm, the less spawns you're going to get, which is the bad part about this farm. But anyway, this is going to be where you're standing AFK. You're going to have walls in the corners like that, and you can just come and lean up against these. You can't get attacked. And one thing I accidentally did do is add glass against these walls right here. You actually want that gap. You don't want to have blocks there, although you do want them for the iron bars and the fence, just on both sides like that. And also you're going to want a roof so you don't get killed by phantoms, and a roof on this guy so he doesn't get struck by lightning. The last part is the collection system, and I'm just going to breeze over this because you can use any collection system you want. I just put up the platform quickly simply because it is very, very easy. Run redstone blocks down the center like this. Alternatively, you can also just have blocks underneath powering the blocks above. I was just using redstone blocks. And then what you're going to want to do is come up here with powered rails, and you can run powered rails along the entire thing, except right here you're going to want to do a normal rail just so that these two aren't powered. Same thing on this hopper. And then when we come down here, you can actually go into crawl mode to place all of the ones down below, or just kind of reach in there and just get them all like that. After you have the rails run like this, kind of just making sure you get under all of the honey blocks, you can actually come down off the bottom of the hopper and place a comparator. This is going to be going into a block, and on the back of the block there's going to be a redstone torch, and then above this redstone torch is a block. Then you can have a repeater into another block. So that means that when there is a hopper minecart going along, it can get powered, come at the top, and stop. But if anything enters this hopper minecart, let's say 64 iron blocks, it's going to stop on that hopper. I said it's going to stop on that hopper, and it's going to keep, and it's just going to unload like that. Yeah, there we go. And I got all 4 of these unloading systems in. Let's actually just start them real quick, and there we go. So they are going to swoop about, do their thing, and once honey comes in, once slime balls come in, they will actually get caught up in the system. And yeah, this is the entire slime farm completely done. So this was not designed by me, like in the title. This was designed by Xisumavoid from Season 7 of Hermitcraft. And this unloading system, it must have been done before. I kind of just was thinking this'll work. So I'm sure somebody else has done this. This is just me showing you guys how to build it. And if you did build it and you did find this to be a useful tutorial for you in your own world, then definitely do leave a like down below. I'd love to hear what you guys thought. Leave your comments. What is the next farm that I should actually do a tutorial for? And until I catch you guys in my next episode, it is bye for now from me, guys. And if you're interested in checking out the vanilla survival multiplayer series we have on the server, subscribe to the channel. Bye, guys! The very last clip that I actually recorded for this video, I went to hit F3 and N to switch from creative to spectator, and I hit Alt F4, so I X'd out of Minecraft.